Okay, folks, this call is being recorded and we place our recordings on our YouTube channel. If you don't want to be recorded, it's time to drop off. Um, and thank you everyone for joining. And topic of our discussion today is GraphQL support in Azure API Management. So just like we always do, we are gonna go do a quick level set on what uh, the things that we're going to be talking about. Um, for example, we're going to talk about GraphQL. Just keep in mind that this is not a session on GraphQL itself. There are a lot of resources available. Once I share the slide deck, you will see those resources, a list of some of those resources available there. Then we're going to talk about what is uh, talk about the support for GraphQL in Azure API Management and what it is all about in regards to there is a pass-through support that is GA that you can use in general availability, and then there is the synthetic support. So basically, you can use your REST API as through GraphQL. So that's existing REST API, REST SOAP API. Very powerful feature, and we will of course do a quick demo and the usual stuff and Q&A. So with that, what is GraphQL? GraphQL is getting a lot of popularity these days. Basically, this is a query language for your APIs. Okay, and it is not tied to any database or a backend. It and what it allows you to do is pinpoint, get the information that you need in a precise fashion. Instead of going through. So let's say that you have a set of APIs regarding a university. You have student, you have their classes, and you have their grades, professors, and you want to get some information um, about a student's GPA. You know, Instead of calling multiple APIs, you can use GraphQL. It allows you to get that data from your APIs in without uh, kind of getting a lot of clutter that you get with it. So, just as I said, ask for what you exactly need, and we will take a look at a few examples. So, this started, I'm not sure if everybody's aware, GraphQL started with uh, Facebook. I mean, now it's an open source project. I think that uh, uh, idea or this initiative started initially born out of Facebook, as far as I know. And then now it's an open source project. So, idea is very simple. Um, you basically defined different types, and each type you define where the data for what type of data each type has, and then you define your queries. There are two types of kind of actions. One is a query, which is, as name suggests, it's your get when you're kind of getting data out of it. It's either a list of objects or a single object. And then you have your mutations, which are nothing but your uh, data manipulation activities that you're updating a data, you're creating new entities and things like that. Okay. So all of that is encapsulated in a single schema, and that's what you use to query your API. So, for example, this is an example here. You have a query. It is the name of the query is me, and the return is a user. And what is a user? It's a type. As you can see, it has an ID, it has a string, and what are some of the functions? Here are those functions. Basically, um, these are kind of the GraphQL function. This is the definition of that function. And when you make this query, you're gonna say me name, so it's gonna ask for that particular information. And the interesting thing here is that let me go back to the previous screen. The user may have 5,000 attributes, but you don't need 5,000 attributes. You just need the name of the user, maybe the user ID. In your query, as I see here on next screen, you can define what information you need, and only that information you will get. Okay, so that's the idea of this. Very simple, but I mean, just think of it that there may be a hierarchy. User, and you want third. I mean, you want to maybe third level. You want some information, or set of information. So that's it allows you to do that. It allows you to get that precisely only that information that you need. So, any questions, folks? Okay. So let's continue to move. Okay. I mean, as I said before, uh, the problems that it solves is, trying to get a lot of data, or basically abundance of data that you don't need. Let's say you need a lot of other attributes for that user or what entity that you have, but you don't have a use of it. So that kind of is clogging your bandwidth and all that stuff. I mean, it's overloading the system. On the other hand, instead of making a lot of queries like, okay, first give me the user, then give me the user grades or something like that, you can make one query and precisely get the information or set of information that you need. Okay. So these are kind of some of the things that um, GraphQL resolves. So just want to set the stage. Um, I did not intend to spend that much time on it, but I just want to make sure that everybody kind of we can do a level set. So in regards to the GraphQL support, here are some of the things that API management provide. If you have a GraphQL API, you can take it to API management and just import it. And it's smart enough to import the schema, and then you can so it will be a part of API management and all the goodies that come with API management, like policies, like security, like the ability to rate limit your request. All of those now you can use for your GraphQL APIs as well. So nothing has changed. I mean, same thing that you do with REST API or SOAP API, as you are putting them behind your Azure application, Azure API management. Same thing you can do with GraphQL endpoint, and we will take a look at the demo. The second piece is very interesting. So let's say that you have existing APIs in the form of REST or SOAP APIs. Okay. And now you want to expose them as Graph API. You can do that with this support that Azure API Management provides. And we will take a look at it. I mean, it has a concept of resolvers where you can use them as a part of your um, API management pipeline to resolve how your queries and mutation, just as I said, queries are for requesting data, mutations are for updating or creating new data items. So it allows you to kind of translate those requests. So how it will call different APIs and things like that. Okay. And you can uh, there are some other stuff as well, which is specific to GraphQL. So there are policies that are specific to GraphQL APIs that you can use to make your APIs more secure. Okay, and the one feature that I really like is the ability to run test queries instead of kind of once I um, uh, you know created my APIs and now I have to find a tool to test them. All of that is built in to the portal, so you can kind of quickly import the API, excuse me, run some test queries and go from there. So very, very powerful. Okay. Folks, any questions at the moment? Okay, so let's jump into the demo. So okay, so this is my API management service. As you know, I'm running a developer instance, and here are the APIs. And what I'm going to do is I want to show you this. I'm sure everybody has seen, HTTP WebSocket. They're already there. Then you create from definition. You can bring your WSDL or WADL about GraphQL import. Okay. So two things we are going to discuss, and we are going to go through it a bit quickly because of the snafu. So let's click on the GraphQL. This is very simple. You have a GraphQL API. You basically take that API, and this is a GraphQL API that is publicly available. I'm gonna put that endpoint name here. I'm gonna call it, let's say, APL Graph QL demo. That's it. And this is gonna be the API, suffix, and it's gonna interpret everything from there. And let's just create it. Okay, so this API is now created. This is the API that's just put in. We can go in there and this is the kind of a schema. It has all the definition. It has imported all the definition from that public API. Cool, very nice. And we can start doing the query. So let's go into the test tool. So if you see here, there's a design screen, there's a settings, which all, I mean, if you have played with API management, very standard. And then we have this test screen. So it allows you to query the API. You don't need a third party tool just to do the initial testing. You may need it for further, I mean, if you have more kind of a, about different things. But to initially test your API, you can do all of it from Azure API Management. Okay. So for example, here, I want to do a query. I want to find a country and it will ask the ID. So I'm going to name it BR. This is the code that I have. I want to find the capital. I want find the currency, and I want to know the name, uh, things like that. And then we have the states. So it so as you can see here, you can go into the states and you can pick whatever information that you want. You don't have to pick everything. Okay. And so let's click on it. And here is the result. So this will precisely pick up. So this is the country information, currency. Brazil is the country name. Brasilia is the capital. BRL is the you know currency, and then you have all the states that are a part of that. So you see that, I mean, we are we don't have to get the entire graph. We can just query the information that is relevant to us. So that's and it and you can get it from through GraphQL, and you are going through the API management. And once again, if we go in here on the design screen, you can add your own policies here. So I can add a policy, for example, limit rate call, or you know filter IP addresses, all of that. I can use those policy here. I can use the um, uh, you can use GraphQL specific policies as well. I think somebody posted a question that can we lock access to certain parts of the graph? I don't know the answer. That is related more to GraphQL. That's why I said that this session is more about GraphQL, how more about API management support for GraphQL. This is so maybe there is a way to do it. Um, or maybe you can use a policy to do it. I will have to find the answer. Sorry, I don't know. So probably at API management, there's a policy or there is a way you can control access to certain parts of the graph. I will have to look into it. So that's Chris. Thank you for your question. So I'm not sure is it possible or not. So okay, so that's that. Okay, now to me the more interesting part is the ability to do um, queries that are um, that are actually non GQL, and they are and you basically make these non GQL APIs and put a wrapper around it and expose them as uh, GraphQL. So let me just show you here. This is a very simple API I have. I hope everybody can see my screen. To do API, and it takes just a list of to do tasks. That's all it has. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to expose it through the GraphQL. So since we have a little bit short on time, I'm not going to go into too much detail. I'm going to show you how I have exposed it in this um, uh, in this API management. So first of all, the first thing you need to do is you need to create your schema. And what schema is, you need to tell them what type you're dealing with. It can be one type or multiple types. In that, my case, there is only one type. To do item, which is ID and name, both are string. Okay. Second thing is what type of queries you're going to do. So type is query. I'm doing one query to do, which returns me a list of to do items. This is basically get all. The second one is by a to-do item by ID. In that case, I will get a single to-do item by its ID. Okay. Then I have a mutation which allows me to create a to-do item in that list. So and right now I have a single mutation. You can have an update item as well, things like that. Okay. And that's the schema. This is the definition part. Okay. Once that is done, um, yeah, let me discard it. Then what you will have to do is you will have to go into your backend and create resolvers. Okay. So these are the resolvers that I have created. Hopefully everybody can see my screen. I'm going to increase the size a little bit and I'm going to kind of move the windows around. So this is the resolver. Look at this one. This is for get all items. So what I'm doing is um, I'm going there and I'm saying, this is my URL. Just call get and it will give you all the items. Okay. And this is how, so basically what I'm doing is I'm translating my REST interface and mapping it to different GraphQL actions, like which is queries and mutations and things like that. Okay. Everybody with me so far? No, exactly not. Very good question. It is not. I mean, this API is the example. There is no graphical structure here. You can correlate. You can weave your APIs behind it, by making your own connections. So the data doesn't have to be in a graph format. That's the synthetic, creating your synthetic GraphQL APIs in Azure API Management. That's what allows you to do. Okay. That's that. Look at the second part. In that one, I am basically um, um, one second, folks. Sorry, I'm having some technical issue. Okay, so and as you can see here, this is the in that case, I am getting an item by ID. So I am parsing the request and you will see in the demo. And I'm using that to get that particular ID and then querying the item. So let's not waste any time here. Let's go into the test. So first I'm going to do all to-dos, okay? And it asks me, do you need the ID or name? I'm going to get both, okay? So let's do a query. Here are the items, to-dos, ID, some test data. Okay, now I'm going to do another query. I want to get an item by ID, and we already have an ID here. I'm going to put two, and I'm going to do an ID and name. And look here, this is your query editor. Okay, that's where it is basically populating all of that information here, saying, okay, this is my information. This is the ID too, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that ID from there in that resolver and build my REST query. So basically, it's translating that graph query into the REST query. So let's query that. Let's see what happens. Here we go. So think of it. We are now building me. That's exactly right, Basu. Yes, you can put a GraphQL front end in for your movie database. I mean, you just saw that. You know, it. You just need to do translation for your queries. Whatever your query is, you just need to translate uh, use your resolver just like I'm using to REST, and the the users think that they are calling a graph QL, but behind the scene it is translating from REST to graph. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Quick question, if I may. Why
Sure.
would I even do like the plain old REST API? Why won't I do just a GraphQL API to begin with? Why do REST and then put GraphQL? I don't understand the use case for. I understand the use case for GraphQL, but if if that for any API, I don't want to be fetching more than what I need across the wire, right? So why
Because
would I
you
even
have,
do?
yeah,
Mhm, mhm.
exactly. Because you have a lot of APIs already there. There's a millions of REST APIs there. Not
Okay,
We are not going to go in and rewrite them. So what you do is that we always do in the world of software, we put an abstraction layer. In this case, abstraction layer is this synthetic GraphQL. So basically, you still use those API instead of rewriting them as GraphQL. You put a layer on top of it, expose them as GraphQL. Got it?
cool. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah. Any other questions, folks? Okay. Uh, and by the way, there's a question: can it connect to SharePoint? I mean, the thing is, it's your backend API. You can connect to anything. You just need to do the resolver. As long as you can do the resolver, you can expose it as a graph. Okay? So once again, I really apologize for the audio issue. I'm not sure what was that, but I hope everybody got something from this session, and hope to see everyone next week. Have a wonderful rest of your day and a great weekend. Hope to see everyone next week. Let me stop.
Do you have the link to create the initial API?
Uh,
Like,
oh, the to-do
is
API
it?
or
Yeah, it's a brand new one. Is it under API management? I'm sorry.
yes, it's gonna be a great API. Okay, no, I can share my screen back. Hold on. Let me go back here. So if we go into this is my API management portal. Okay, and let me go in here,
Oh,
APIs,
like
and
start a brand new one, yeah, because I'm sort of new to this and everything. And
yeah. So basically, that's fair. I mean, you
oh,
can, if you have an existing GraphQL backend that you want to put behind API management, you will use this one. If
okay,
you want to expose your REST API, then you will use synthetic GraphQL. Okay,
okay.
got it.
Got
And by the way, documentation is really nice. And there are two blogs, and those entries for those blogs will be in my in the slide deck as well. They're very good in going over what you need to do to both for synthetic and for native GraphQL. Okay.
Perfect.
That's it. Thank you, and have a wonderful rest of your day, everyone.
Thank you very much.